Exodus chapter 6 conclusion. Okay, we are in Myanmar, Yangon, at the We Love Yangon sign at India Lake. Right. So what happens in this chapter? Well, what's the thing I kind of want to focus on in this chapter? It starts off with the previous chapter of Moses praying and like being angry at God for sending him there, because now everybody is angry at him and life is so much worse now for them. And then God answered him and said, but I will now show you what I will do. I will change Pharaoh ultimately, and Pharaoh will let you kick you out of the country, following the example of Pharaoh before kicking Abram out of the country, but for different reasons. But it took some convincing from God's side. So God again, like with giving Moses his name, God again, weirdly so, kind of like a father whose son fell. You know, I remember once as a kid I ran on there at the school on outside in the court on the tar road. We were running around just like in this playground area, and the walkways were tarred. And I fell, and lo and behold, I mean, I even still to today, you can see this here. This is where I fell that day. And it was just blood everywhere. I mean, my whole knee was kind of gone. I mean, not luckily the kneecap and all of those kinds of stuff, but it was really bad. And so it's like a father's, when like that situation, you stoop down to your son. Now my father wasn't there, he was at school. But you kind of you stoop down and you like pick them up, take them to the medical room and get all this blood out and do everything up. This is kind of what God is doing here, undeservedly so, for Moses. He says, but you know what? I gave you this new name. I gave you this covenantal name. I didn't give this name to Abram. I didn't give this name to Isaac. I didn't give this name to Jacob. I didn't give this name ever before to any human being on this planet. I'm giving this name now to you, Moses. So see, that is already a huge thing for Moses. It ought to have been enough reason for him to say, yes, God, great. Okay, I'll go back. God didn't stop there. He said, but you know what? I didn't even give this name to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I gave them a promise that there will be a land where they were just sojourners. It wasn't their own. They were just sojourners. I promised them that land. Furthermore, I made a covenant with them. And in that covenant, I made this promise that I will give them this land. So all of these things, point for point, how God is clearly pointing out to Moses that he ought not to be afraid. He who is God, and he said it so often in this chapter, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. I am, right? There was no need for Moses to doubt. How did Moses react? No, I mean, he went back to the people didn't listen to him. And then he came back to God and said, no, you know what? My people didn't even listen to me. So what the heck is the chance that Pharaoh is going to listen to me? I'm a man of uncircumcised lips. Right, God? So thank you very much for all those, giving me all these reasons, very, very super valid reasons. No more valid reasons on this planet than these reasons, but it's not enough for me. Although God before said, who made the lips? There in chapter 4. No, it was not. But then the chapter takes kind of a turn by pointing out the descendants of Reuben and Simeon, the first, second, and then Levi, and stopping at Levi. And in Levi's line, unlike in the other two, go all the way down to Moses and Aaron. Why? To point out that this is the Moses and Aaron who led them out. Those two that went to Pharaoh. Now you can say, okay, is this now a bad sign or ominous kind of a sign? It's like, these are the two guys that went to Pharaoh, and because of them we are now suffering so much. Evil Moses, Aaron, those two specific fools. Or, as we know, it's because they are the ones to lead out. Right? They are the ones who actually in the end did lead them out. Now we know the end, but at that stage maybe you could have thought differently, because at that stage the people are thinking, we hate this Moses and Aaron. Why were they ever born? Right. And right, we hate this Moses and Aaron. Why were they even ever born? But then the chapter ends as well again by saying, but they did go to Moses, right? They did go to Pharaoh. And Moses did say that he is a man of unclean lips. Okay, so, right. What I still want to say just is the following. And that is the kind of the point I want to make in this chapter, or what is about this chapter. The difference between God and man. Even a man like Moses, right? He remember like Noah before, saving all those the whole world basically. A great deed, a massive deed. You can't do a greater deed on this planet than what Noah did. But that was not enough to save himself. He still died. Okay. And then we get to here in this case Moses. A massive deed he did, not on a Noah scale, but still a massive deed that he did. But Moses is going to die. So that's not enough for him to save him spiritually. None of the deeds that Noah did, and none of the deeds that Moses did was enough to save them spiritually. We can't believe by our own deeds. So I always Christians saying, we can be saved by deeds and stuff like that. We can't be saved by deeds. It's impossible. No one of us can do enough deeds to justify or pay for all the sins we committed. It's impossible. But God, I will. That is the one to save. That is the one who did it. God and God alone. Not your salvation does not depend on your good deeds. Moses ended by saying, but I'm a man of unclean lips. And God said, and that after God did shown him fact for fact how he will keep his word. Moses didn't believe. Moses failed. Okay? So the point is just, there's a huge chasm, not in relationship between man and God, but in just our being, in our actions, in the grace of God to people totally undeserved. Praise God that he didn't listen to Moses and said, freedom of the will is kind of, I'm not, since, again, you come up with this stupid excuse. After I gave you all these reasons, after I gave you all the signs, you still, even now, even here in Egypt, even after all of this, you still come up with these stupid excuses. Even then, God didn't say, okay, go, I'll find another way. No, he did not. God showed. God alone, soli Deo gloria, solis Christos, salvation through faith, sola fide, sola gratia, sola scriptura. Ultimately, that is the only way. God and God alone. We are not deserving of His grace at all. That's that for today.